Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here. I'm doing my review for Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. I recently got back. I just did my Disney World review, and honestly, going through the two amusement parks, very different experiences because there's like a million things I didn't know about Disney World and how it's like a bunch of different parks in one. You got to take a bus to get to a different park. Universal, you got three things. You have Universal Studios, you have Islands of Adventure, and then you have Wet and Wild. So we bought all our tickets for the Universal Studios portion because that's where all like the simulator rides are, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So that's where it was me, my girlfriend, the whole family for the family reunion, or at least really the immediate family, for the theme park, and it was really fun. Like my Disney World experience was kind of like bookended with meh, but all of Universal was super fun. Like we were flying through stuff. Like Universal has the single rider thing. If you haven't been to Universal, they basically have it where you have the normal line. They have Fast Pass there as well, but you have to buy it. So you have the normal line, a Fast Pass line, and then they have the single riders line, which is you go in and it'll split your party up if there's like a party of three, but there's only you know, two seats left, they'll probably say, all right, you hold on, and they'll get two single riders. So for the most part, that's what we did, because it was like, let's just get on the rides. It really doesn't matter if you experience it with your family, to be totally honest, when you think about it, because it's going to be the same ride. You're going to be screaming, so it's not like, oh, this is great. Yeah, you're going to be screaming, and then it'll be over in like less than a minute. So really doesn't matter if you do, single riders, because it doesn't make a difference. But that's pretty much what we did the whole way through. Started off with Terminator 2 3D, which was great. I was so happy to see that because I'm a huge Terminator fan. So I was super happy that they still had anything Terminator related there. 3D was actually still pretty good. I was surprised by that. I was like, I'm curious how this is going to be. But it's not blue and red 3D either. It was, normal 3D like it is today. So they had that. It looked really good. There were like a couple of parts. It was like the faces for some reason. Whenever they did like human faces in 3D, and it was like CG human faces in 3D, they always came up blurry. But whenever it was just like it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger's face or Linda Hamilton's face or the guy who played John Connor as a teenager, I can't remember his name. If it was them just like in front of the camera in 3D, it looked normal. But whenever it was a CG version of a real face, it would always come out blurry, and it would be like you could see three images. It would be like the main image, and then it would be like the glasses weren't working, and you could kind of see, triplets. So that was a little weird. I was like, I don't know why that's happening, because all the other 3D stuff actually looks really great, and it was just so weird. I was like, only human CG faces look weird. Everything else looked fine. I was like, that's the weirdest hiccup, for the 3D. But it was really cool. It becomes interactive, which I had no idea. I thought it was just like a video, and they have like live actors as well. So they have the live actors on the stage playing Sarah and John, and so they have footage up on the screens, and so the actors have to basically time the footage and like turn around and do this and do that as the footage does it, which I thought was actually kind of interesting. I was like, man, you really have to time that stuff right, because if you trip or you do it wrong or something, it takes it off, it messes it up. So I was like, man, that's actually kind of cool that they do that. And of course it's dark on stage, so you can't really see the people's faces, and you just look at the screens and it's like, oh, there's Linda Hamilton and stuff like that, and they have someone of course playing Arnold Schwarzenegger. So they had some cool stuff. They like shot shotguns and junk, and the guy came on stage on the motorcycle. It was on a track, but it was still really cool, and like he's driving towards the screen, and then he comes out of like this part on the stage with steam, and he goes around and he pulls out the shotgun and shoots the T-1000, and it was really cool. And then they get to this part where it's interactive, and the seats actually start to move, and that was probably like 10 minutes into it. So that was really surprising. It was probably more than 10 minutes in. It was basically within the last, maybe the last 5 minutes or maybe last 10 minutes of it, it started to get really interactive, and like the seats start to move and shake, and like shut off lights and sounds are going off, and it was really cool. I was like, I didn't think the seats would move, and it would get extra interactive, but it does toward the end, and the 3D is great at the very end of it. It was actually phenomenal. So I really had a great time with that because I love Terminator, so that was really awesome. It was the first thing we did. After that, we got to see the Mystery Machine, which is kind of sitting outside the little Terminator store. So got a picture of that. saw some of the Simpsons. We saw Bart and Homer. They were taking pictures with people, and then we went to Springfield, which I couldn't wait to do because once again I'm a huge Simpsons fan. So I was like, we go to Springfield, and it was my favorite part. It was honestly there's another thing. It kind of rivals it because I kind of like both these things, and they both just were great to be in. But when you go to Springfield, it is seriously Springfield, and I loved it. It was like you get to take pictures of Duff Man. They had the Duff Beer guys. I forgot the actual name because they only used them in like 2 episodes, but it's like basically the 7 Duff Dwarves. And they had Chief Wiggum, and he crashed the car into like a fire hydrant that's spraying water. And then they had Moe's Tavern, they had Duff Brewery, they had Bumblebee Man's Tacos, they had the Quickie Mart, and they had Lard Lad's Donuts, and they sold like big donuts that were basically like cakes that you had to cut up and eat. And it just looked really cool, and you could take pictures with all this stuff, so that was really cool. I also got to take a picture, which of course was one of my favorite parts, but I got to take a picture in front of both the DeLorean from Back to the Future, like the actual DeLorean, and I got to take a picture in front of the train that Doc Brown built in Back to the Future Part 3. So that was super awesome because I didn't even think about it. I was like, I know, Universal's Back to the Future, so I was hoping there was something there still because they got rid of the Back to the Future ride, which the Simpsons ride actually replaced. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to see or if I'll see anything from Back to the Future. Like, I know it's it's still popular, but it wasn't popular enough for them to keep the ride like they did with, Terminator. So I was like, I don't know if I'll actually see anything. I didn't know if that's where they had the DeLorean. I thought maybe it was somewhere else. I really didn't know. But went past and I was like, I saw it in the distance. I was like, that's the train from Back to the Future. So I got a cool picture in front of that with my little cousin, and a picture in front of the DeLorean as well. So that was really cool. I was happy about that. Couldn't touch it because, of course, they're behind ropes. I was like, I kind of want to just get over this rope and just touch the DeLorean. But wasn't a good idea, and I didn't want to get kicked out because it was still super early. That was before we even got into Springfield. It was like right before Springfield. It was the train and then the DeLorean next to it as well. Because the train was like sideways, but the car would be facing you. But that was really cool, and then all of Springfield. Then we got on the Simpsons ride, which was really cool. That was a really good simulation ride. It was surprising because I thought it was going to be like an actual roller coaster because the building itself is actually pretty big. I thought it was going to be sort of a simulation roller coaster thing, but it starts off, and it's kind of surprising. I don't really want to spoil it, but basically, excuse me, it's more of a simulation than you might expect. So that's what really surprised me, and it was actually in a good way. But it's kind of like a roller coaster still, and you move around a bunch, and it looks great because it's kind of like an IMAX experience, the dome IMAX where it's like all around you. That was very cool, and it's like just this big dome, and you look all over the place. It's all sorts of stuff happening. You'd have to ride it a couple times to really catch everything because you fly through a lot of different locales. So it actually looks cool. You get a lot of different parts of Springfield, and they start off where it's like in an amusement park itself. It's inside of Krusty Land is where it starts, and it's just really cool. And they have like, as you're waiting in line, you get to watch clips from The Simpsons and stuff, and they have exclusive clips that are made for the ride itself. So it's like, oh, they're talking about Krusty Land, and they have a thing that references Back to the Future since that's the ride it replaced. They have Christopher Lloyd actually voiced Doc Brown in the scene where Professor Frank, who's the scientist, jumps back in time. So they had some cool stuff in there for sure, and it was really funny because I love The Simpsons. So they were just playing a bunch of Itchy and Scratchy stuff, a bunch of random funny clips from old episodes, and I just had a great time. I was laughing like crazy just waiting in line, and we didn't have to wait forever either, so that was really cool. Went through, had a fun time on that. Then we went to the Men in Black Alien Attack ride, which was pretty cool, and that's when we first experienced the single ride stuff because The Simpsons didn't have it. I don't believe it did, but and Terminator didn't either because that was like a giant theater. So it was basically, it felt like everybody that was in the room. So it was like you just go at the time the show's about to start and you'll probably get in there. It was a giant theater, so you really didn't have to wait. Just look for the time and you were fine with that. But once you got to the alien attack thing, it was like, oh, they have like single ride stuff. So that's what we did. We flew through that line in like 15 minutes. We got on the ride. We were shooting at aliens and stuff like that. We were separated, but it was still super fun. It was a fun little ride. My girlfriend and my little cousin actually ended up being on the same ride together, and then I went on the one after them. But it was really cool. Like, that was just a fun little experience. We went through that. Then we went to my second, kind of, probably more than Springfield, to be totally honest, but it was Diagon Alley, the Harry Potter thing. That was nuts. Like, that was crazy. Like, just going into that, you were in Harry Potter. It was insane. You go in, and it's Harry Potter. Like, if you see the movie, you think they filmed it there. Honestly, I don't know if they didn't, to be totally honest. I'm sure they didn't, because it's on some studio backlot, but it was nuts. It's like, you go in, it is Diagon Alley. You go in there, you see all the stores. They have every store that's in there is in there. Like, it's amazing. It was crazy when we went in. And then you see Gringotts as soon as you go in, and there's a dragon on top, and it breathes fire. They have Hagrid's motorcycle is like to the left. If you're facing it, it's to the left of it. And there's butterbeer that you can buy there, which my girlfriend was super happy about because that's what she really wanted to do. And in the books, it's in Hogsmeade, which is in the Islands of Adventure thing. So if you buy both tickets, you can go to Diagon Alley, and then you can get on the Hogwarts Express, and it'll take you over to Hogsmeade, which is where like they have the school set up as well as, you know, Hogsmeade area. But we got to have the butterbeer, which was really cool. So I got to try that, and she got to have some as well. They had a bunch of elixirs and stuff that you can drink. We got to see a little show. Escape from Gringotts was a really cool ride. We did the single riders again, and that was one of the 3D simulation rides. So that was really cool. And they had, you know, you're just all sorts of stuff. It was really awesome. And just looking around, I think we spent more time just going around looking at stuff because it was so tied into the movie, because it was the movie that it was insane. Like, and I'm not like the craziest fan. She's a bigger fan than I am, but even I was in there, I was like I like the movies. I've seen all the movies. I never really read through the books. I've read like half the first one, but that was really it. So I'm not like the most ginormous fan, but I do love those movies, and I love the story. I do like all the characters and everything. So seeing it in person, I was almost at the same level as her. I was just like, this is freaking nuts. I was just like, this is crazy. It's amazing. So had a great time there. They had, you know, all the stores. They had the wines that you could buy, which were like super expensive. It was like $34 or something for a normal wine. Then they had interactive wines for like $42, where you could get the map and go around, and you could, you know, interact with stuff, which was really cool. After we spent forever in there, we went to I think after that we went to the Transformers ride, which is very cool as well. That one moves around like crazy and was super cool because you're basically inside of a Transformer, so you're basically like in a race car, so it has to move like crazy, and it backs up and it spins, and you know, it's super interactive because it's Transformers. So it's not like, oh, something moved it a little. It's like Transformers are giant robots stomping on the car, slamming on the car. So it just, the way they blended it together was just really, really great. And that was also 3D. So loved that one. Then we did the Mummy ride, which is pretty amazing. I think the reason they kept that, the movies might not be as popular anymore, even though I really love The Mummy Returns. The ride is freaking nuts. Like, that was a great ride. That's one of my favorites for sure. It was the Mummy ride, and like they shoot fire and stuff. It's a bunch of fire. Like it gets pretty hot. So love that, and it's a full roller coaster. It goes down and up and all that stuff, and it's pretty crazy. And it can scare you. It can scare my little cousin. He's only 10, but he was able to go through all the rides with us. It was me, my little cousin, and my girlfriend the whole day. His younger brother, I knew, would get scared at a bunch of stuff and was shorter, so I was like, he might not be able to ride. And I was like, he also, sometimes he just doesn't listen, so I was like, you go to everybody else, we'll take him, because he's super quiet, and he's kind of like me, and it was just like, he just goes with the flow, and we had a great time. But that scared the crap out of him, because it was like, it was the Mummy. It was actually scarier than the movie, because the movie's is like an action movie, but that ride is like kind of horror based, and it was actually really awesome. It's like the Mummy's like killing people on the ride and stuff like that. It was like 2 people, but it looked really cool. And they have like just soldiers come out, and there's fire all over the place. If you go to Universal, highly recommend that, and Transformers, Diagon Alley, and The Simpsons are like top 4 things you got to do. They're all really great, and also just going to Springfield in general is on that list as well. Like Springfield as well as the ride, and then Harry Potter, Diagon Alley as well as the ride is very cool too. I think I had a better time just going around Diagon Alley because it was so close to the movie though, but I did like the ride as well. After we did the Mummy ride, we went to the Rip Ride Rocket, where you get to choose your own song, and that was like really the only, outside of the Mummy thing, that was the only like real roller coaster on the Universal side of things, and it was just a flat out roller coaster, and that was pretty much it for that one. So that was the last ride we did. Because that was after the Mummy ride, I thought my cousin might be a little scared to go by himself, even though it was just a normal roller coaster. It was like, yeah, I guess we have to ride together. So we ended up waiting in like the long line for that. My girlfriend was annoyed. She was like, oh, that took forever. And I'm like, that was really the only ride where we had to wait a long time. Transformers was quite a while too. Because I don't think we did single riders. And I don't know if they even had it. I don't really remember for Transformers. I think they may have, but we just didn't do it. But that was really the only one, was the Rip Ride Rocket, where it was like we waited a really long time. We waited like, kind of like almost an hour sort of deal. Everything else was under an hour, especially with the single ride stuff. It was like, boom, we waited almost 15 minutes for pretty much every ride we got on, and it was super fast. The Simpsons was maybe around 20, but even that's super short when you think about, an amusement park, that's really short. So I had a great time there. We like flew through. It was like, this is where we're going. These are the times, like, we do this ride first, that ride. We just had one big map, and it was like, we start here, and we just do a full circle. The Diagon Alley is in the middle, so we'll go up, then we come back down to the front. And that's pretty much exactly how it went. We flew through the rides. We had a really good time. I didn't end up buying anything there. I got, like, my little Disney droids when I did the Star Wars thing at, Disney World. But there wasn't really much that I wanted from Universal. There was, like, one thing, and it was a 9 3/4 like throw pillow, and I've been looking at it online now, and it's like, man, I kind of do wish I got that. Like, I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's cool, but it's like I mentioned, I'm not like a ginormous fan of it, but it just, like, it was funny. It was like, I liked the movie, but it's like, dang, that just looks like a good pillow to me. I don't know why it was. It was like, for some reason, it was like a light purple, and it had like that sort of I guess like that gold knitting around it is like a rectangle on both sides. For something about it, I don't know. For whatever reason, it was just like, this just looks like a great pillow. Plus, it's nerdy because it's Harry Potter, which like I said, I do actually like a lot. And I was like, man, I kind of wish I got it now. That's like the one thing I'm kind of regretting. Like, I really did like how that pillow. It just looked good to me. I don't know why it like called to me just visually. It was a sweet looking pillow, and you can find it on eBay if you're interested. Just look up. I seriously just put in Harry Potter 9 3/4 pillow, and it's one of them that comes up, and it's the purple rectangle one. But I was trying to find it on Universal's site to see how much they charge, because I didn't even look at the price for it, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get that. And I didn't even think about it, because we went back, and that's how I found out how much the wands cost, because my little cousin wanted one. But my girlfriend and I, like, we paid for our trip ourselves to go to the family reunion, which is why we went to Florida. So it was like, I want to get that for him. And my aunt wouldn't do it because she had already got his own lightsaber, because he built one with his brother at Disney. So it was like, she's not paying for it. It was like, you can get it as a gift. And I was like, he's not even that big of a fan. And that's why I was like, it's like $30. I thought it was $40, and then I looked up the prices later, but 37 or 35 or whatever still wasn't that much cheaper for the regular ones. But it was like, that was the only reason. And I didn't even think about the pillow when we went back. And if I did, I probably would have got it at that time. But it was like last minute, because he was like, all right, this is what I want. So we went back, and that was as we were ready to leave, because we got off our last ride, and everybody else was ready to go. So we were kind of just like, all right, let's run back, see what he wants. And it was kind of too expensive for me to get for him. And unfortunately, I told him, I was like, you can probably just get one at Toys R Us that he'd like a lot more, because it was seriously just... I believe they were solid wood. My girlfriend said that they weren't, but I dropped one by accident, and I think they were. But I had a good time with it. Like, it was really cool. Diagon Alley was awesome. Universal in general was super cool. And next time I go back, we are definitely getting 2 tickets so that we can go between Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. It's more for the Harry Potter thing than it is to even get on the other rides, because Islands of Adventure has like a new Hulk ride. They have the new King Kong thing, which people say is really awesome. Plus they have the old Spider-Man thing, which is kind of like the Terminator thing, where it's a ride, or it's like a 3D show, plus it's live action. I think it's a ride there instead of it being like a theater show. But it's a ride, plus it has live action in 3D on screens as well. So, love Spider-Man. I really wanted to see that, but it was like, those tickets were super expensive. So it was like, we'll just go to one park, we'll do all our simulation stuff, and we'll come back another time when we got a bunch of money, and then we'll do both parks, or we'll stay and do one park one day, another park the other day. We'll probably do both parks in one day and just go early, because I want to take the Hogwarts Express, because I want to, because that would just be awesome to me. But I had a great time there. I had a really good time. It was like, start to finish, I knew what I wanted to do, and we just flew through the rides, had a good time with my younger cousin, because you know, he was able to kind of stay with us the whole time. Even on the last ride, that was like the one ride, the Rip Ride Rocket. It was like he might not be tall enough, and he was. And it was like, sweet, he can come on. He went on literally every ride with us because he was tall enough. So it was like, cool. Like, it was great because I was like, it was like, you got to be like 42 inches and stuff. And I'm like, I can't just look at him and know how tall he is. And his mom didn't know just off the top. So it was like, who knows? But it was cool. He was able to come with us the whole time. So I love that because, you know, we don't go to amusement parks like crazy. So it was cool to have that little experience. It's just taking my little cousin around the theme park the whole day, and he just hung out with me and my girlfriend. So I had a good time with that. It was just like a personal family thing. But we had a great time. It was really fun. Like I said, highly recommend. If you have to go to one thing, even if you're like if you've seen Harry Potter, you need to go to Diagon Alley. If for whatever reason you can only do one thing, even though it's literally the entrance is here, the Diagon Alley is literally the other end. It's at the back. Like you have to go all the way to the back to get to it. But if for whatever reason that's the one thing you can do, I highly recommend it because it's like it's just going into the movie, and it's perfect too because the way they did it is they have like the apartments and stuff in the front, and it was just cool. But they have this little entrance that you go into, and then boom, it's just Diagon Alley, and it's just perfect, and it was crazy. It just looks so freaking good. So highly recommend it. Plus, there are like a million stores in there. There had to be over a dozen stores just in Diagon Alley alone. So odds are, if you wanted to get something of any sort of variety, there were plushes, there were other types of toys, there's Slinkies, there's all the candies from the film, there was Quidditch stuff from the film, shirts, and pillows, clothes, sweaters and hoodies, and the full outfit. You could get the actual robes, everything, any sort of style of item that you wanted, you could probably find there because they had just so many stores. They'd all be, of course, like I said, Harry Potter based, but you could pretty much find any type of item almost just from going there because they had so many stores, because they recreated the whole thing, from the story. So highly recommend it. Universal was a great freaking time. Can't wait to go back there, even if it's getting on all the same rides. And if I can find out exactly how much that pillow cost at Universal, I might end up just buying it on eBay because it might be years before I end up going back to Universal unless I win like some free tickets or something. But had a great time. Of course, would love to know your experience if you've been to Universal lately. So please comment below. Let me know. Favorite rides, least favorite rides if you went there. If you like Harry Potter, have to know what you thought about that because it's just seriously. Like I said, not even the biggest fan. But it was just like I can't stop thinking about it because it was just so freaking crazy. It was seriously being in the movie. It's just nuts. But we'd love to know what you guys thought about it if you've been there. If not, I highly recommend going because it's a great freaking experience. I'm sure Island of Adventure is fun too. But just going off of what I know, based on my most recent time going, definitely check out Universal Studios because it's really fun. But like I said, I want you guys to comment below and let me know. And of course, thank you guys for watching.